Mandy, the music you make is kind of often described as pop rock, but is there a way that you tend to describe it?
Yeah, I tend to describe it as like alternative pop music, something that I like to lean towards as an artist as not being stuck in one genre. And I
Yeah.
think alternative pop is such a like overarching, genre because it's just pop music that's not your stereotypical like I guess like bubblegum pop. Things that like are like more syncable, more mainstream radio, but it's still pop, but it just has different elements, whether it be R&B, whether it be rock, whether it be honestly anything. I'm actually working on like a really fun like Afrobeat song,
Huh?
so that's something to look forward to as well.
Who are some of the artists that influenced you when you were growing up?
Yeah, I have older parents and then I have five older siblings. So I have a lot of different like types of music that was being played around me. One of my biggest inspirations is Debbie Harry from Blondie. I
Mm.
just think female rock stars, like especially like in the 80s and in the 70s and even in the early 90s, like Pat Benatar and like Joan Jett, they just so were inspiring to me. Like I loved seeing a female with so much power, commanding a band. So I would definitely say those are some of my top three. But then also like Little Me, I was obsessed with Hannah Montana. So Miley Cyrus is like one of my favorite people ever. Who else? I love Gwen Stefani from No Doubt. Also just like songwriters, Carole King, she's one of the best songwriters, and I really look up to her as well.
I was gonna say, I see a little Avril in the promo for this new song.
Yeah, yeah, I love Avril Lavigne too. I used to religiously watch her music videos on MTV when my siblings would all be doing the chores and I was like too young to do the chores. I'd just sit there at the TV and like watch all the music choice like music videos that would just play all day, and I would just watch Avril Lavigne and Taylor Swift music videos.
I love F your F-150. The title is so cheeky and it's perfect summer song. I think because we've all been love bombed in the past, sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
did the title? Talk about the story of crafting this and where the idea came from.
Yeah, so I was talking to this person, and like you said, like just totally love bombed. I was also coming straight off of COVID, and I was fresh out of high school. So, and right after I was a 2020 grad. So I like before I even knew it, like when like things were starting to open up again, I was already a sophomore slash junior in college. So like time honestly had felt really suspended for me, and my growth felt really like stagnant because you're stuck at home, there's not much for you to do. So like my ex from high school, like it's a high school relationship, like obviously you have bruises coming out of something like that, and I hadn't like met anyone or been out or like had any growth as a person from my high school experience. So I was just so eager to get out there, meet a nicer guy than, my high school ex. But again, my high school ex was a high schooler, so it's like I don't we're all cool now. Um,
That's
but I
petty
met
with the
this
song.
yeah, no, he's not about that song. We're cool. We homies now. Um, but I was just so eager to like find that person. I'm like, you know what? I deserve the best. Like I'm worked on myself now. Like, and the thing was, I went into that very naive. And like when I got love bombed, I was like, oh my God, he loves me. Like this is my person. Like this is what I wanted. It was like a someone to treat me like a woman. And so I felt so like such a high from that. And just there were so many red flags that I was like making excuses for. And one of the things that like drove me crazy was that he really honestly sometimes had no personality other than the fact that he loved his truck. Like his
Uh-huh.
F-150 was his baby, and like oh boy, he treated his car so good. And like I always was like, like oh, he loves his car, he takes care of himself, like, it's so amazing. But then I found out that he wasn't only talking to me, but he was talking to so many of my other friends. And he was taking us all to the same places. He was saying all the same lines to us. And it was interesting because it was like we were acquaintances, like we were all in the same friend group, but it was like strategically not the girls that I hung out with 24.
Mhm.
And so F-150 actually was a code name for him because he always wanted to keep it on. He always was like, because he was a little bit older than me, and he was always like, I just don't want people to judge us for our age gap and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So I'd always be like, my mom, of course, my mom knows because I tell my mom everything. And I was like, Mom, I'm going out with Mr. F-150. Even though she had met him, she knew who he was. Like, it wasn't like he was coming to my house. Like, I really thought this was something. And then I found out about the other girls, and it was so funny because all of us came together. And the one thing that we found in common that we like drove us crazy about him, not only was the fact that he was saying all the same things, taking us to all the same places, but oh my God, all he talked about was his truck. And so I just remember being like, dude, F is F-150. And then that like kind of struck a chord with me and I was like, you know what? What a fun. Like I honestly left that situation feeling so empowered because I got together with these women and it was like empowering to kind of like bash on his truck because that's all he cared about. And it was like the closure I needed. The song like really empowered me and it actually led me to meet a nice guy for real. And my boyfriend now is so amazing and he's so supportive. He loves the song. He screams it at the top of his lungs.
Ah, does he have a brother?
He does, but he's also taken.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you then, how did you all resolve this when you confronted him? What did he have to say?
When I tell you he sensed it. He sent like he was not a dumb guy. He sensed it and he literally disappeared off the face of the earth. Like
Before you
ghosted
could confront him?
before. I think he sensed it because all of our energy kind of like changed
Back
because
a
we
little.
all like it
A
was
little
like it wasn't
older.
yeah, it wasn't like a all at once kind of thing. It was kind of like slowly like, okay, this isn't making sense. Okay, why is he doing that? And like it just started slowly piecing together and like being like, I'm not gonna like just keep this a secret. I'm gonna start asking people questions because now I'm like, oh, like you hang out with him. Like what does that look like? And it started to like slowly, like it was like unraveling
We all go
slowly.
to Chili's. We all go to a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
city so that
yeah,
we don't run
exactly.
into the people that we're friend, like people who would see us from our town.
Exactly. And so
Your
it's
boy.
unraveled slowly. And then once we all pieced it together, he was gone, like disappeared. And I think it kind of made it worse. And I think that's why the song was so freeing because like I wanted to say a piece of my mind a little bit. But it's so funny because I kid you not, I ended up just blocking it like because I was like I'm not gonna like do this on social media like that's weird, it's childish. Like I wanted to talk to you face to face and tell you like hey that's messed up, you shouldn't do that, like don't play these girls, don't play me kind of situation.
Mhm.
But I was like, you know what? I'm above that. Like move on. And so this song was like my therapy in a way.
Okay.
But I blocked him on everything. He made a burner account with
Of
his
course he did.
name. With his name though. Like why wouldn't you use a different name? And since this song has been released, he stalks all the stories and he's always the first person to like my reel. So I think a little part of
He's
his
like, yes, I'm famous.
yeah, a little
Like,
part of his conceitedness loves that there's a song about him and his truck, you know?
yeah, he's low key proud of it because it gets him
Yeah.
media attention or like internet fame. So,
He's like, yeah, F-150, that's me.
like, so what is your songwriting process like? We talked a little bit about for this one, but what's your songwriting process like? Do you need to have lyrics before you can craft a beat around it? Or is there no way you tend to write every typical song?
Yeah, so every song is like a very different process, just varying at like where I feel creatively. Um, Sometimes I'll just, because I played piano since I was really young, so sometimes I'll just, go over to my keys and just start playing some chords until something feels right. But usually, recently I've been like coming up with like ideas or key things in my head. Like for instance, it was like F F 150. I said that. I was like, I need to write that down now because like it just struck something inside of me. And I feel like recently that's kind of been the thing, whether it be like I hear someone say something and I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. I want to write that down. Or whether it just be like sometimes when I'm like meditating or like a thought, or I'm just like thinking or observing my thoughts, I'm like, that like I'm sure other people feel this way too. Like I should write this down. So like journaling really helps me with songwriting, but I usually start with the music and then I find the melody and then when I'm at that place of like feeling what I'm, whatever like theme or subject or like story I'm telling, the words kind of just flow in. So I'm usually like a music first girly, but usually have like an idea of what I'm trying to emote or what I'm trying to say.
Is there, do you have much of a hand then in the production side of the music that you make as well?
Yes, kind of. I just actually finished going to school for music production and audio engineering. And oh my gosh, like one thing I learned at that school is that that is not for me, other than like I can do it, but I just, oh, I lack the patience to like, I really like music producers out there, audio engineers, like hats off to you. Like they will listen to one sound over and over again for hours, like perfecting the EQ and like and I again like I love the creative process like with FUR F150 with my past couple singles like When You Were a Virgin and all of my Teenage Eulogy EP, I got to sit alongside the producer and be like, "Ooh, I really like this bass line. Let's do this." So it was like a very collaborative environment. I did get, hands in on the process.
Okay.
But and that's why I really thought like, oh my God, I loved it so much. I think I'm gonna go to school for this. But then when I tried to do it on my own, I was like, yeah, no, it's not for me. So I'm kind of like the person who likes to collaborate with them, but definitely not the person who takes full lead on the production. But I do handle all like the writing aspect. And usually what I do is I'll send like a really rough scratch of like me playing on the guitar and singing or me at the keys and singing. And then I'll send it to the producer and I'll be like, let's listen to this. What sounds are we thinking? And then
Mhm.
when they kind of have like a bare bone, track set up, we just like build together on that. So I'm so grateful to have such amazing producers around me.
With this song out now, is there a full album or an EP in the works at all?
Not at the moment. There is a few single releases that I am working on. I'm working on a couple of singles. One is going to be like a really fun dance song that has like an Afro beat. It is called Hypnotized. To me, like I really feel like I'm channeling like my inner Cleopatra, like really like bad bitch era, like fully like come together, which I think is such a beautiful like moment after, like the FUR F-150 and the teenage eulogy era of my life. And then I also have a love song that's possibly coming out on Valentine's Day next year. So, and that one's like super Motowny and like old school on just classic. And that one's called Lovesick. And I think it's only going to be like a live version. I think something that's going to be really beautiful about that is that I don't want it super produced. I want it to be like completely instrumental and just
Ooh,
like really, yeah, and really just encapsulate the audience and like just like that old school, like one take, have the band in the studio and let's go kind of a thing.
all right. Have you been busy performing F your F-150 live at all?
Oh yeah, totally. We just did a show at the Viper Room and I got these like really fun, cute little like trucker hats made and we were selling them at the show and it was so cute because like people in the crowd were all rocking the hat. And I like this song had maybe come out, I want to say like a week and a half before the show. So I was like, you know what? People aren't gonna know all the lyrics. Like that's okay. They'll just know the chorus because it's FBR 150. That's like the only thing it says, really. But oh my gosh, I was so beyond like ecstatic. People were like screaming the verses out. I had girls come up to me and was like, I dated an ex who had a Ford and made me think of him. He was terrible. And I was like, okay, like I like it, don't blame me. It's not the truck, it's the person. Ford, don't hate me. But
I was gonna
like,
say, don't take it out on.
yeah, I'm like, Chevy, hit me up if you need if you need promo, because apparently a lot of girls have a lot of animosity towards men in Ford F-150s.
That's
So
right.
yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I That was a really exciting show, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot more. I'm actually also working on a really fun country version of FUR F-150 that's like
Okay.
leaning into the like, banjos and fiddles and like a lot more like pop country, just to have like an alternate fun version of
Yes. I can only imagine country radio just blowing this song up for you.
I know. And they're either gonna hate me, they're either gonna hate me, or they're gonna love me. They're gonna be like,
Well,
no in
you're like
between.
the new Carrie Underwood, and suddenly, like, you're pop country, and you're like, you have to change your whole sound just because you found your niche finally. Well, you have this one song out now and you have more music to come. Are there any collaborations in the work, or maybe someone you would just love to work with in the future?
Yeah, I'm always open and looking for collaborations. I think right now I've definitely been collaborating with a lot of new producers and a lot new songwriters, just collaborating with songwriters that actually went to school with me. And I think that's something really special because I think horizontal networking is so important, and including the people around you that are learning with you is so important. So right now I'm just kind of in the works. I'm working with this producer named Marvin, and he's 18, and he's literally one of the most talented people I've ever met. Like little genius up there. And he's actually going to be the one helping me with Hypnotized. And I'm really excited because he's throwing some crazy, funky, and cool ideas out there. And I definitely think it's going to be a sound that I haven't done yet. And then I'm also collaborating with some of my friends that are just really great instrumentalists for the country version. Like I have a friend named Connor, and he is literally one of the most insane banjo players I've ever met.
Oh, okay. He's
And
going to add such a good twang to this.
yeah, it's gonna be so exciting. And he does a lot of bluegrass kind of country stuff. So the fact that we're like bringing the two song, like the two, like, because FF 150 is definitely like pop, you know? So like I think marrying the two will be so exciting and unique. And hopefully we'll be getting that out by the end of the year.
All right. Who are some artists that you're really digging at the moment? People you tend to be listening to these days?
Yeah, so I listen to so much music. I think right now one of my favorite artists is Upsal. I think she's
Mhm.
really cool. I love her songwriting style. I just love her. I love Charlie XCX too. It's Brat Summer.
Summer.
Everyone knows. I
You're
know
part
it's
of
Brat
it now.
Summer. Charlie XCX always, she always hits the nail. Is it the hammer on the
The
nail or
nail
the
on the head.
yeah, the nail on the head. There we go. But who else have I been listening to right now? Billie Eilish is always on rotation. And then there's this other artist. Her name is Emmy, and she always has really great music, and I've been streaming her a lot.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible music that you make?
Well, I would first just say like thank you so much. I'm so grateful for, everyone who reaches out and, supports me and pours into my cup and gives me words of affirmation. Like it seriously means the world to me because being an independent artist is extremely daunting sometimes, and it does feel sometimes like an uphill battle 24/7,
Sure.
but I'm so grateful for the people who encourage me and let me know like that my song meant something to them, because at the end of the day that's all that I want. And I also would say like if you have dreams of your own, whether it be opening a restaurant, whether it be making a fashion line, whether it be being a musician, like seriously do it. Like do whatever sets your soul on fire, because at the end of the day, like everything is temporary here, So why not make our temporary experience here filled with love, light, and passion? Like do whatever calls to you and do it full force.
Great advice.